I guess another flashback to Ryder's past. In the basket are a multitude of clothes made from expensive silk and linen, decorated with laces and ribbons. She washes them all diligently, rinsing in the river, then hanging them up on the chains one by one. Stoically, she labors on. The moment it falls into her hands, a spear turns into a clothesline, a sword into a hanger, and a helmet into a shoe drying rack. Yes. You know, you gotta be like, I don't know what the word is. You gotta make do with what you have, I guess, you know? Gotta be efficient. Thus, having finished hanging up the laundry, she notices a single statue casting a shadow on the clothes and proceeds to kick it down. The work is finally completed. The owner of the mystic eyes looks at the statues scattered throughout the temple. She sighs listlessly. She sits down on the statue of a man trying to crawl away to escape. It's like a chair. Under the pleasantly warm sunlight, a dry wind breezes through her hair in the laundry. Bathed by the rays of sunlight, she gazes at the sun absent-mindedly. Right now, she's neither a goddess worshipped by the many, nor a monster which shakes the earth, but a young woman enjoying the tranquility. Yes. Oh no! Suddenly, a voice full of anger echoes in the temple. Not that this is a rare occurrence on this island. Seeking the glory of exterminating a snake witch, many people come day and night to kill her. As a result, it seems there will be one more clothes hanger to join the cemetery of bizarre stone statues. However, it's not a soldier, it's the owner of the mystic eyes who was supposed to smack her lips at her new sacrifice, cowers as if meeting the end of the world. Appearing on the top of the stairs overlooking the forest of stone statues. Ah! Okay, yeah, we were given like their voices before, but I think this is the first time we actually see them. It's, I believe it's Uriel? Oh, either Uriel or Steno, I guess. But the sisters, right, basically. Well, they're in Fate Go, so that's why I know them, obviously. Very than with some statues, only a single girl in a dazzling outfit. Okay, she seems angry. Is she angry that we've, like, turned a bunch of people into statues? Or are you angry about something else? Yeah, they were just angry about that. Again, it's funny how, like, nobody cares about all these, like, people that are basically dead. No, who cares about that? You didn't do the laundry properly. Ne-sama. Okay, this is probably where her her height, insecurity comes from. Her deeply traumatic past with like abusive sisters.
ちゃってる。もう洗濯一つ満足にできないどころか服を全部ダメにしちゃうなんて信じられない。あなたは究極の疫病神なの？それとも最高の役立たずなの？どうなの？答えなさい、ダメデューサ。
Dama Medusa? How'd she say it? Actually, what is that weird nickname?
それは姉様、次は気をつけますから。まだわからないようね。どうなの？答えなさい、ダメデューサ。
Damedusa? Is that what?
どうなの？答えなさい、ダメデューサ。
Damedusa. That's a weird nickname. I mean, it probably makes more sense in Japanese. I kind of don't really understand. Damedusa? Dame? Like dame as in like you can't do it, I guess? Like useless, you know? I guess, yeah, that's what it means. Like useless Medusa, basically.
あなたに次なんてないのよ。もう私は明日から何を着ればいいの？あなたみたいに裸同然のハレンチな格好で過ごせというの？
Again, it's just weird because, I mean, look at this girl. She's like in a frilly dress and everything. She has twin tails. And these two just don't really care about the fact that they just murder people all day long, I guess. It's just normal.
でもこの服は姉様たちの。
No, they care. Well, at least she cares about. What she cares about is like having good clothes for tomorrow.
何よ、文句あるの？あなたには私たちの余り物で十分でしょうに。
This beautiful woman was told off completely by a girl with a height lower than her chest. It might have looked charming to an observer, but sadly, there's nobody there to watch but wordless stone statues now.
まったくどれもこれも醜いわ。女の気を引きたがるような下びた顔ばっかりで、もう眺めが最悪。男はこんな顔するようになったらおしまいね。これからは美形の男だけ石にしなさい。鑑賞価値のないここの石像は全部砕いて片付けること。
Only handsome men. Only kill the handsome man. Well, I mean kill everyone, but keep the corpses of the handsome men, obviously.
そんな、だってこんなにあるのに。姉の私がやれと言ったらやるのよ。あなたは妹。この島では奴隷以下の存在なんだから。あとこの前みたいに手を抜いてベルレフォンで石像を一掃するなんてのはダメよ。そんなことしたら神殿まで焼け焦げちゃうでしょ。まったくバレなければいいだなんて誰に似たのかしら。姉様だと思うけど。聞こえたわよ、メデューサ。
Scary face.
信じられない。さっきあなたは奴隷以下だと断ったばかりなのに、それをもう忘れて姉に反乱を起こすなんて。そこまでは。やっぱり物覚えの悪いあなたには絶対霊獣の態度を体で教えてあげなきゃわからないかしら。
What's she doing?
逃げるなんて許さないわよ、メデューサ。
Shaking off the restraining voice of her pursuer, the owner of Mystic Eyes dashes off at full speed. She's heading for the stable. There resides her Pegasus, a gift from the god of the sea, Poseidon. She needs to get on the winged specimen of the phantasmal species and escape to the skies for a while, far away from the reach of her sister's hands. Then she has to pray that her sister's mood will change before she returns.
そうすると掃除と食事の用意が。でもあのままだったらお仕置きされて結局できないし。
She laments while fleeing away. Thanks to her long legs, her sister couldn't catch up to her on foot. She felt gloomy at the thought that this was the only time that she was thankful for her tall stature.
私も姉様みたいに可愛ければいいのに。
She opens the door of the stable, but the owner of the mystic eye stands in shock.
姉様、どうしてこちらに?
The girl holding the reins to the Pegasus laughs lightly.
あら、ごめんなさいね、メドゥーサ。
It's the other sister. She looks the same actually. I mean, well, Steno and Uriel, especially in Fate Go, they look pretty much the same. There are slight differences though, but she looks literally the same though. I don't know. She's drawn exactly the same anyway.
ちょうど遠乗りから帰ってきたばかりで、この子は疲れ切っています。私はともかく、あなたのように大きくて重たい乗り手はもう乗せられないでしょうね。そんな、今日は朝から休ませてあげるって。
You know, I don't know. I just mentioned like I don't know where it comes from, but someone's always like dragging a chair. I think it's my neighbor. My neighbor is like dragging a chair every time, near when I stream, especially every time. They're just like dragging a chair, and I think you can hear it with the microphone, which is annoying. I don't know anyway. But yeah, here's Steno. She's very smug, by the way.
島の外に出たいの？それなら泳いでいけばいいでしょ？あなたの肥えた体なら水によく浮きますもの。いいですか？持ち主として注意しますが、今日はこの子を使ってはいけません。え？だってその子は私がいただいて。困ったメドゥーサね。妹のものは姉のもの、姉のものは姉のものだと何度言えばわかるのでしょう。ほんとすぐ楽して私の天まで出かけようとするのはおやめなさい。悲しいわ。その物臭なところは一体誰に似たのかしら。ああ、聞こえましたよ、メドゥーサ。
But she said nothing.
仕方ありませんね。私も本意ではありませんが、妹が姉に背くとどうなるか体で教えて差し上げます。
What's she gonna do? The other one was licking her lips. Now she's just full on suck mode. I don't know.
今度は何も言ってません。ごめんなさい。
The owner cannot help but dart out of the stable. However, the other one, again, they kind of look the same. Maybe there's a difference? I can't tell, though. I mean, it's hard to tell as well in Fate Go, actually. The two of them look really pretty much the same.
私のところに戻ってくるなんて、姑息なあなたにしては殊勝な心がけね。下姉様。あら、私がメドゥーサを捕まえてくださったの？
Yeah, look at them. They're pretty much the same. Is there any difference? If I remember correctly, in Fate Go, their dress is slightly different, you know, where they put these weird, I don't know what you call them, like armband things. It's like slightly different, the ribbon's slightly different, but otherwise, no, they look the same to me. They're like even mirrored. I don't know. Anyway. Elder sister and eldest sister. This will require some explanation. The two girls giving Medusa a hard time, each one the splitting image of the other, these two are in fact Medusa's older sisters. The eldest one is Steno, the Strong, who will spook you every time you try to summon an assassin, the gacha. And the younger one is Uriel, the Far Flyer, and she's a very good archer, actually, in Fate Go. Finally, the youngest and tallest, unlike yet different, is Medusa, the woman that dominates. I don't know about that. These three lovely ladies were the infamous Gorgon sisters. Exiled to the Shapeless Isle, turning one brave man after another into stone, they were prominent monsters even in the world of Greece. However, As a side note, to avoid any misunderstanding, it was only the youngest sister, Medusa, who struck fear into the hearts of the heroes. That is to say, the two other sisters could not boast of any fighting prowess at all. Or rather, while they had been acquiring an entirely different ill reputation than Medusa, her sisters were revered as goddesses by their nearby men. Originally, they were ancient, indigenous gods of Greece. Nevertheless, jealous of their beauty, the goddess Athena took away their faith from the people and exiled them to the shapeless isle. Although only Medusa alone received Athena's ire, out of care for their younger sister, the siblings accompanied her to the isle as well. Since then, rumors about them being monsters started circulating amongst the people. Okay. However, a rumor is still only a rumor. They did not become monsters and merely continued to spend their days like before. Legendary infamous Medusa aside, the first and second daughters were literally perfected goddesses. Goddesses? The eldest daughter, Steno, a lady of elegant demeanor, overflowing grace, and wisdom in her words and actions. She's a very horrible assassin servant in Fate Go. Like, she's really bad, except for very niche uses, in niche situations. Otherwise, she's actually a horrible servant. A goddess said to be the ideal woman. It is said that merely hearing one's name escape from her lips is enough to make a man lose his senses over the rapturous feeling and swear eternal loyalty to her. I'm surprised she doesn't have a literal fan club or something, like a bunch of loyal zombies to protect her instead of Medusa. But the second daughter, Uriel, a lady with carefree demeanor, overflowing smile, and the essence of purity in her words and actions. I don't know about the purity. The goddess said to be the ideal girl. It is said that merely hearing one's name escape from her lips is enough to make a man tremble all over with honor and swear to protect her even at the cost of his life. Must protect. Unlike Medusa, these two goddesses had neither mystic eyes nor supernatural strength. With merely the power of immortality and eternal youth, they were just weak girls. Athena lied about them, that the reason they would never grow old was because they were monsters. That was false. Different from the gods of Olympus who needed to consume the golden apples to stop aging. Hey, golden apples. It's what you need to reset your stamina in Fate Go. Anyway, I don't know, just like these two characters, it's just Fate Go to me, right? Because I see them in Fate Go, so I'm just reminded of the gacha game. Anyway, the sisters, especially Steno and Uriel, were born into this world as idols, completely immortal, yes. Pop idols. They were the embodiment of the yearning hearts of men. Although they would never age, they were the weakest beings in this world. With no power to fight, these immortal girls would starve if left alone. They could not live without help from others. That is the divine essence of these Gorgon sisters. From the moment they were created up until the moment they were destroyed, they will remain the same. Except the youngest, who was a failure from birth. The youngest daughter, Medusa, different from her older sisters, she did not have the skills of a perfect goddess. The two older sisters were forever young, but Medusa's immortality was imperfect. As a result, in spite of being the younger sister, Medusa grew older and taller than her sisters and was revealed as a monster different from them altogether. As a side note, one ought to mention that she was a great goddess nevertheless. The Gorgon sisters were the results of the deification of the same natural phenomena. One could call them copies or clones. It could have been a mistake during her birth, or there might have been a deeper significance to it, but the youngest sister Medusa was not copied correctly. The older sisters embodied the concept of forever young and immortal, yet Medusa received nothing of the sort. Nevertheless, as compensation, Medusa was endowed with various abilities which her sisters were not. Mystic's eyes of petrification, a supernatural ability to interfere with nature, and excellent physical abilities. All of these can be said to be divine powers indispensable in protecting her sisters who couldn't live in this world by themselves. However, it was those physical differences that caused the sisters, once united, to become three different individuals. It is not a surprising development for Medusa, different from the start, but in the process of interacting with one such sibling, even the two others who were meant to be the same, eventually showed slight Why can't I say this word? Irregularities? Irregularities, yes. The youngest sister, an expert in combat, her older sisters who perfected themselves as idols. Unlike Medusa, they liked humans very much. They welcomed the men who visited their island, comforted them, and sent them on a new adventure. Eternal idols, the incarnations of the image of a pure maiden, idealized, never-aging young girls, twin deities in a class entirely different from that of the haughty goddesses with full curves. Haughty goddesses with full curves, I don't know that. That's right. As goddesses whose purpose was just to be loved and spoiled, being cute was their specialty. The ultimate sisters whose beauty would never be matched even by Medusa's best efforts, they were the Snow White Goth Loli idol duo, okay? For Steno and Uriel, that was the meaning of their very existence. They seem very spoiled otherwise, no? Well, that's what the men, observing from afar and oblivious to their true character, said of them. The eldest daughter, Steno, a lady with elegant demeanor, overflowing grace and wisdom in her words and actions, a goddess said to be the ideal woman. It is said that merely hearing one's name escape from her lips is enough to make a man lose his senses over the rapturous feeling his eternal loyalty to her. Yes, that's what we heard before. However, according to a certain younger sister who wishes to remain anonymous, she would say that Steno was the perfect example of laziness. She had not the slightest interest in things she didn't like. Worse still, this monstrous sister's cruelty towards those she had no interest in would make the watchdogs of hell tremble in fear. The second daughter, Uriel, a lady of carefree demeanor, overlooking smile, essence purity, ideal girl, protect at all costs. However, according to a certain younger sister, who once again wishes to remain anonymous, she would say that Uriel was the ultimate display of mood swings. On top of that, she was sly as well. If I keep quiet, no one will be mad. And if I don't get caught, then there was nothing wrong. And yet she would feel just a little guilty later. That's the impish, cowardly second sister. Unlike Medusa, they liked humans very much. They welcomed the men who visited their island, comforted them, sent on an adventure. But even that was a gigantic trap. They love everything pretty and cute, freely and unconditionally. Indeed, these two devils did love humans. However, what they loved was not simply humans as living beings, but rather toying with the people they liked, embarrassing and driving them to their ruin. In short, watching them struggle. They loved it more than life itself. Sounds like a certain, priest, maybe. They just love suffering.
姉様それは姉様たちが無条件で嫌う醜いものだと思うのですが呆れた取り返しのつかないほど趣味が悪いのねメデューサいいこと綺麗なものがこの上なく無様に踊るそれが本当の美しさというものよ
Hence, many brave men became the sisters' sacrifice. The heroes who came seeking to court them were met with impossible demands and went back to their countries weeping. Alas, the terrifying, devilish three sisters. Some went to challenge the she-monster Medusa to gain fame and were petrified. Others went to seek the hand of the goddess in marriage and ended up ridiculed beyond all reason until they met their death. Oh, brave warriors, if there are men amongst you, they shall do well to leave this place. This is the island at the utmost end of the world, an evil paradise inhabited by women of peerless beauty. Look, pal, I'm telling you for your own good, just don't ever get involved with a goddess. This island practically existed to teach you this lesson, you know? Okay. Who's that narrator? I don't know. And that's a rough summary of the story behind the Temple of Darkness. A peaceful afternoon without any challengers, which was quite rare. As part of the daily ritual, Medusa is being picked on by the two older sisters again.
私からも逃げようとしてたの？私に何をしたのか、まずは話を聞きたいわ。
Medusa is caught between the two sisters, each a splitting image of the other. Unlike Medusa, who matures slowly but surely, her older sisters remain forever the same. Since the basics of their personalities are the same, they sense the same things as well. For surpassing telepathy, they are more like two parts of the same body, each of them feeling everything the other does.
そう。私に逆らったのね。あなた。私に二度も逆らったことになるわね。ええ。私への侮辱は私への侮辱だから。じゃあ、私と私がお仕置きをしてあげないと。もちろん、妹をしつけるのは姉の義務であり、権利であり、優楽だもの。
Solemnly, Uriel turns to a statue standing beside Medusa. A slim and tall warrior raising a huge sword overhead.
顔もまあまあ整ってるし、これがいいかしら。
Holding onto the man's armor, she pulls herself up with all her strength as if trying to tear the pieces off.
下姉様。
Flexing her short limbs, Uriel steadily climbs up the man's body.
下姉様、危ないからやめないと。メドゥーサ、これはお仕置きです。あなたは動かないように。
Is this what happened? Is this her punishment? Is this what happened with Ilya? I guess? I don't know, what kind of punishment is this? Like a slithering serpent, with a slow and steady movement, she flows towards the top of the statue. Not able to take her eyes off Uriel, Medusa feels as if all of her limbs are entangled by a snake, unable to even twitch.
絶景絶景。誰かを見下ろすっていうのはこんなに気持ちがいいものなのね。ええ、浅はかなメドゥーサが増長するのもやる方ないのかもしれません。では私をお許しいただけるのでしょうか。メデューサ、物覚えの悪いあなたのことだからもう一度だけ命令してあげるわ。いい？絶対に避けちゃダメよ。
Her small body dances in the air, which is hardly surprising given that she's Uriel the Far Flyer. The flying goddess leaps towards Medusa's snow-white neck, grins wide, opens her mouth and bares her fangs, and then delivers an evil kiss. A battle cry that punches through the skin and pierces the blood vessels below. The sweet music of smacking lips, a dancing tongue and slurping sounds following. Okay, I mean, because they're all like blood-sucking vampires, but not really. I guess not vampires necessarily, but I guess they suck blood. You know, similar to what Medusa does in Fate's Stay Night. Is that her punishment? Then a blood-curdling scream from Medusa. One wonders what those who came to know of her later would think if they saw her like this. Right, not on individuals, but an entire city, the demon Medusa sucked the blood of hundreds of people in one night. To think that she was being treated the same by this cute little girl. Oh no.
下姉様、痛いです。あと、くすぐったい。いいざま。妹の分際で姉を見下ろしているのが気に入らなかったのよ。
The tall woman trembles in fear, and the cute little girl clings tightly onto her. She's like Ilya, except...
というのは片手落ちかしらね。
Oh no. Stand over the back of Pegasus and licks her lips.
おとなしくしなさい、メデューサ。痛いのは抵抗するからですよ。
No, no, more blood. It's like they're eating lunch, which is, I guess, which is what they're doing. They're eating lunch. Her blood plundered from both sides of her nape, Medusa is entranced, standing stock still. Like an endless belt of anemia. These no longer screams that she lets out. The noises now resemble the creaking of some broken mechanism.
妹ってなんてグズで横着で短慮でポンクラのくせになんて血だけがこんなに美味しいのかしら
Okay.
お許しくださいお姉様
The two sucking sounds weave with each other in melodious harmony, melodious harmony echoing within the temple. Part of the daily ritual of the youngest sister is being disciplined by the mean sisters today. It shall be said again, that is not a rare occurrence on this island. It's a blood sucked every day. As I come to, I find myself at the storehouse. The sunlight is now considerably lower. Has it been a whole hour already? Well, you were having a weird flashback, I guess, to Medusa's backstory. I tilt my head.
何って私はシローとライダーが土蔵に入ったからこっそり後をつけてあれ
Ilya also tilts her head. Ryder frowns deeply. Well, what have you been doing? I thought it was like a weird side flashback. It was like a meta flashback. So not everyone else would actually remember that, like the characters themselves, but maybe Ryder was having that flashback. I don't know.
いえ、特別単にシローがもう少し背が高ければいいという希望を口にしていただけです。
I clap my hands together. Yeah, we did talk about something like that, didn't we? However, if that's the case, then what is the bike number 2 doing at Ryder's feet?
ライダー、その転がってる2号のことだけど。
さあ、2号車がなぜここに放置されているか、私は全く感知していませんから。そうですよね、シロー。
そうだよな。ライダーはここに立ち寄っただけだもんな。2号は。
What did Ryder do? Did she I don't know. Did she Men in Black, flash us with a light thing and made us forget what happened or something? I don't know. Despite my mind still being a bit foggy up to that point, with Ryder's gaze fixed on me, I start to feel that there's nothing else to it.
ええ、きっとシローがこれから修理するために持ってきたのでしょう。私からの要求はありませんが、メンテナンスをするというのなら、ペダル周りとフレームの強化をしてください。タイヤは全くも。それでは、私はこれで失礼します。それとイリアスフィール。元気なのは微笑ましいのですが、あなたのような幼い少女には高いところは似合いません。似合いませんので、間違っても土蔵の2階からダイブだけはしないように。
Yeah, if you do that, you'll cause some PTSD to Medusa.
変なライダー。私、頼まれたってそんなことしないのに。
結構です。イリアスフィールは物分かりが良くていい。それでは、夕食に。
Flashing an adult-like smile, Ryder leaves the storehouse. Fascinated by the back of the cool adult-like figure, I see her off in a daze. The stylish woman hits her head and crouches down in pain. Yeah, I mean, that's one, I guess, disadvantage of being tall. You hit your head in the door frame.
ご心配なく。それとシロー、このように背が高くていいことなどあまりないのです。
Tottering, Ryder disappears towards the courtyard. I see. Being tall is unexpectedly troublesome, huh? Alright. Let's see. Something new here? Oh, another rider scene. Sure, why not? Okay. Oh, we can talk about the Holy Grail War and have a look. We didn't actually ask her about we didn't ask her a lot of things, actually. Or rather, no? Have you seen this scene? Weird. Maybe we did? But, oh, there's something else, though. Weird, okay. That was like something that we've seen before, technically. But there's like another scene attached to it? Okay. Well, the violet snake laps up the blood. 3 a.m. Tonight another one-sided slaughter has begun. As always, the stage is empty. Miyamo's residents are fast asleep in their homes. The means change from one moment to the next, skewered by the enormous nail-like daggers, hanging from the streetlights, crushed by coiling chains. Occasionally, she goes too far and tears them to pieces. On a whim, she catches one in her hand and crushes its head. There are a great variety of methods. Emulating a comic she recently read, it's like a manga. She lifts a large vehicle and flings them beneath it. Ah, yes, you know. Zaworodo? No. By chance, there was just happened to be one at a nearby construction site. Rodorolada. While stopping to catch her breath, she considers whether to head back or keep going. Her objective, if she remembers correctly, is to investigate this anomaly. The restarted Holy Grail War. In order to seek out the cause behind it, she was running rampant through the streets at night. Her efforts used some limited success. Another servant has been keeping watch in Shinto but has never found any clues. However, there's one major difference between her and the other servants. The monsters prowling the city at night. No one should have noticed them until the final day, but she had perceived them right from the start. To root out whatever was behind them, she would sneak out of the house by herself and continue her investigation one corpse at a time. Was she been doing this whole time, or maybe in this particular time loop? I don't know. There's no particular emotion driving her. When doing something out of no special interest, her body moves on its own. She becomes a machine without feeling, carrying out a predetermined task. And again, if I remember correctly, it's kind of hard to remember since it's been a while, but the topic when we were talking with Medusa before, or Ryder, I guess, she said something along the lines of how, like, you know, she pretty much stayed neutral, just like all the other servants that we talked to, but she'll do everything that's in her power to protect Sakura, basically. She'll do everything that Sakura wants. She's like loyal to Sakura, no matter what. So, for example, if Sakura, you know, one day orders her to like kill everyone in the entire city, then she would, basically. So, but I guess she's just doing that. She's just doing this by herself, maybe, or is she like being ordered by Sakura? You know, investigating these like weird like beast monsters at night. Well, thus she finds these moonlight hunts neither intriguing nor tedious, instead classifying it as an ordinary chore, a fruitless, unending endeavor. A task neither boring nor exciting, she will attempt it again and again until it yields results. Nevertheless, since when did the hunt itself become the anomaly? She wondered. She controls her ragged breathing. Her self-appointed duty was completed about half an hour ago. Or rather, it was completed after about half an hour, rather. No, it's more like she couldn't help but complete it. No matter how much she wants to investigate, there's no material left. A red sea of carnage. She cannot find anything to distinguish from that. There's nothing left to analyze. She needs to examine each of her prey diligently down to their eye sockets, but there are none left. She controls her ragged breathing. Why is she so exhausted? Why is she like that? Though indeed monsters, they are little more than trash when up against her. A mere 100 or 200 wouldn't even serve as a warm-up. And yet she's breathing so weirdly. and yet she controls her ragged breathing. Letting out what seemed like paying gasps, she decides to continue the investigation. One more. I'll just check one more. Persuading herself of this, she jumps to the next hunting ground. There's a horde of roughly 100 monsters. After examining tens of thousands of them, she knew that answers would not be found here, and yet she continues with this massacre in the name of research. Without feeling, she mechanically bathes in blood. Maybe she's like... No, maybe she's being affected the same way that Shirou was, you know? Remember, like, on the final day after the training camp, Shirou was fighting these monsters, and he was, like, feeling like, you know, like, I need to kill, I hate everything, kill, 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 you know? He's like, he turned all, like, weird. Maybe Ryder is feeling that way as well. She's just killing them just for the sake of killing them. I don't know. Her breathing begins to quicken again. One more. I just want to examine one more. There's nothing wrong with that. After all, the only ones dying are monsters. There are countless more to kill, and this is something she had decided to do. So she doesn't feel there's any problem or meaning what she's doing. After all, they are the bad ones. If they didn't want to be killed, then they shouldn't have appeared. And yet they gush out in huge numbers like insects, forcing her to take them on. She wants to be left alone, but she has no choice other than to oppose them. Similar to when, I guess, she was living in the Shapeless Isle, maybe. That's right. In the very beginning, she really didn't want to do this, but there were other things that were more important. That's why she kept to her role. Still, because it was just too unpleasant, she decided to become something unlike a living creature when she worked. A simple trap that kills people.
Medusa? どこに行ったの? もう戻ってくる時間でしょ?
Okay, another flashback to her past. She heard that after one of her countless tasks.
ほら、早く出てきなさい。私が素敵な贈り物をいただいたのよ。今日は特別にあなたにも分けてあげるわ。
As always, she became a trap for the humans that tried to take away her sisters by force.
嫌な匂いね。メドゥーサ、そこにいるの?
They were not petrified. Those bodies were.
Medusa.
I guess, you know, bloody and like bloody corpses and whatnot.
あなた、そこで何をしているの?
Huh? Medusa doesn't seem like herself. The hunched figure slurping XXXXX flinched. I don't want to remember. Back then, her sister's eyes, which always radiated with joy, turned stark white with fear towards her. I mean, for once. They're not bullying her, you know, but then again, well. The feast in the name of her investigation continues. Each time she plays this part, her body grows more accustomed to its role. The ferocity grows without end. These monsters, while stronger than humans, could never touch her. Their fodder, worthy only to be crushed underfoot. How much experience points is she getting, though? She's grinding a lot. She feels her transmission shift gear by gear, from low to middle, middle to high. The only issue, if any, is that there's no limit to her gearbox. Meaning the question is whether her chassis? Actually, I don't know, how do you say that word again? You know, the body of like a car or whatever. Chassis? Google, please help. I should probably know how to pronounce words. Chassis. That's how you say chassis. Meaning the question is whether her chassis can withstand the ever-increasing RPM. Why she becomes so immersed in her role? It must be because the enemy is so weak and the setting so ideal that she's given such priority to this task despite herself, she thinks. After all, the town is empty. The people vanish at the stroke of midnight. Perhaps they were all killed by the monsters, or perhaps they never existed to begin with. It must be the latter. Those monsters are things that hunt down humans, but not once has she seen them kill anyone. They only act against those who are the same as them. These monsters only feel interest or hatred towards their fellow monsters. Hence, she is taken by surprise. With the monster's presence, she thought there wouldn't be any people around. So, when a young woman appears, wandering aimlessly into the park, oh, what is, I guess, Karen? Though she knew it was human from a single glance. She slices with the woman without any hesitation. Whoops. The regret and confusion fade immediately. This was always a ghost town. So what if a human wandered in by mistake? This is such a change. What happened? What changed that the writer just murdered a... I don't know. She's going on a killing spree and she killed Karen, or maybe she killed Karen? I don't know. Even if she didn't kill her, the monster surely would have. So it is fine. That was a trivial, inconsequential mistake that won't happen again, she thinks with a sigh.
よくはないわ。
Oh, okay, yeah, she's still alive.
あなたがどのような生き物で、これがどのような状況であろうとも、あなたは人を殺したのよ。
The dead woman's mouth proclaims her sin with a voice like a song. She stands up. Blood pours out from the open wound. Having such an interesting scene. Even more blood, actually. Having an interesting scene with Ryder, despite when I clicked on the option, it was it was new, Usually, the serious scenes, the ones that related to the plot, tend to have an exclamation mark. But this one, I thought was just an extra scene. But well, as it turns out, I don't know. It's just Ryder going crazy, I guess. It's murdering. Which I wonder, she's murdering monsters. Are those monsters actually monsters? Or are they actually humans that she's murdering? I don't know. Well, she clutches her throat. Her ragged breasts beg for oxygen. The sight makes her dizzy and with vertigo. Ah, what a sweet smell. The delicious red essence of life which she couldn't find no matter where she looked or how many monsters she killed. Okay, she really wanted blood. That's what she wanted.
こらえが効かないのね。我慢できないのなら、どうぞ好きにして結構よ。だって、そうしたくて真っ先に人間である私に襲いかかったのでしょ?
A voice pierces her heart. That's right. There's still a flood of monsters. And yet she ignored those which are her objects of investigation and hurled her dagger at the girl. She shakes her head in denial. Her dirty hair sways like snakes. Desperately, she objects, claiming it was an accident, completely outside of her duty.
別の役割。あなたも異常を解明したいというの？大した疑問ね。あなたはこれっぽっちも町のことなんて考えていないくせに。
Her heart is sliced through, its contents exposed. That's right. She doesn't give a damn about this piece of this city, about the piece of the city. This investigation is carried out only for the sake of her master. Yeah, for Sakura.
まあ、立派なサーバントね。けど、これは本当に彼女のためになるのかしら。
The air turns to poison. The woman approaches her step by step. Not with her legs, but her words. Approaching not her body, but her heart. She's trying to knock down the last pillar remaining in her broken self.
何日も繰り返して、いい加減疲れたでしょ。ここで楽にしてあげる。正直、見ている私も飽き飽きしてきたところだし。
She throws her daggers, She throws a dagger towards her flapping lips. Her aim is perfect. It skewers the girl's tongue and splatters even more of her blood. But even then...
認めなさいメドゥーサ。あなたは本当は恨んでいる。
A grudge against humans.
あなたは本当は楽しんでいる。
Enjoying killing people. Oh yeah, again, look at that eye. I guess that was the turning part, you know, when she like turned all evil and everything.
あなたは単に
Don't need a reason at all.
大切だという彼女以上にこっちの方が大切なのよ。
The girl is still standing. The purple snakes are gradually blackened by her gushing blood.
機械に徹したところで奪った命の重さは変わらない。目を伏せたところで亡くなった命は消え去らない。
Okay, Karen, I guess Karen just keeps getting stabbed over and over and over again, and she's just standing there just talking normally, I guess.
蓋を閉めたまま生きていたらいつか自分の中身さえ間違えてしまう。
She's an eyesore. No matter who this human is, she's just an eyesore. She kills her until she shuts up. She cuts open the girl's warm stomach and tears out the entrails. She almost shouts out in joy. More than any human she had laid her hands on before, taking out her anger on this girl feels so good. She continues to mutilate the girl's body from the stomach outwards until only the head is left. Oh, poor Karen, I guess. I don't know. I was gonna say it's partly her fault for provoking, Ryder in the first place, but I don't know. Surely the chatter will stop now. Relief gushes through her body, and just when she feels a slight tinge of regret that she can't kill anymore,
これで理解できたでしょ。あなたはあなたにふさわしい場所に戻りなさい。
at last, she realizes her true feelings. She has an unendurable desire to kill humans. Well, that's spooky, alright? Okay, back to... I don't know, another flashback, maybe? This is a weird art. Or like ancient Greek art, maybe. I don't know. At least in the style, anyway. Once upon a time, there was a princess. One day, the people who had loved the princess started hating her, and they sent her off to an island far, far away. Compared to her glorious life up until then, the island was very empty. Frightened by the people who had gotten angry at her without reason, the princess prayed that no one would come to the island. Still, she was very, very lonely. She wept and wondered what she had done wrong. Yeah, Medusa, I guess the princess. I mean, who sent her to the island again? It was like Athena, right? Athena was like, I forget what the reason was, but I guess Athena, the Greek goddess or whatever, was like jealous or angry. I don't know. No reason. After a short time, I think that's a typo, I don't know. After a short time, her elder sisters arrived at the island, yeah. It was mentioned that her sisters voluntarily went to the island itself, In that way, it feels like, I don't know, maybe there's some, redeeming factor to Yuri and Steno. What we've seen of them, they're kind of mean and everything, and kind of evil, actually. But if there's any redeeming factor to them, is the fact that they voluntarily went to Medusa just so they can be together. So, I don't know. Tsundere, okay. How wonderful. Although they were still loved by all, the princess's sisters moved there for her sake. The princess was not lonely anymore. Although the island still had nothing, she was happy because her sisters were there with her. The only things left to fear were humans. Kill, kill, kill the monster! With great courage, they came to chase the princess away. Snatch, snatch, snatch the goddesses away! She could have born in it, or rather, well, she could have borne it if that had been all, but then the people began to point their swords at her two sisters. To protect her sisters, the princess decided to take revenge. How wonderful. Yes, this time she could just do to the humans as they had done to her. She killed many humans. After all, even if she tried to escape, the princess had nowhere to go but the island. I don't want anybody to come. She had always wanted to be left alone in peace with her sisters, but...
やめなさい、メデューサ。挑みに来た人間たちが命を落とすのは自業自得でしょ。けれど、それを娯楽にしてはいけないわ。
Yet still they came, one after another. Since there was no end to them, she started experimenting with new ways to eliminate them more quickly. When the trap she had devised proved effective, she found it a tad funny.
あなたの魔眼は戒めるためのもの。決して恐怖を与えるものではないのです。
Interesting. Interestingly, sisters are like warning her about, like, you know, taking pleasure in killing and everything. But sisters might actually be protecting her, you know, from like turning into like an actual monster, which, well, we know how that turns out. But it was only right that those had done nothing but scold the princess thus far should come to fear her as well.
それを口にするのはやめなさい。
I guess that blood, you know? Oh, is it B-L-O-O-D? Yeah, it is blood.
私が近頃のあなたは恐ろしいと怯え
I imagine, yeah, maybe the translators, you know, they like purposely made it like that. Oh, actually, B-L-O... No, well, B-L-O-O-D. Yeah, okay. I was wondering, like, did I spell that right? Is that the right? Okay, it is like, you know, blood. We saw that the last time, I guess. No matter how infamous or fearsome she became, the humans kept approaching with boundless ferocity. The sisters continued to scold the princess. The princess felt too ashamed to show her body that had changed shape a little. She left the sisters she once dearly loved. In the end, she was alone again. Sad and lonely, she hungered for new sacrifices. Come to think of it, in the beginning, we were the sacrifices. She laughed, bathed in red. Okay, Ryder is going crazy, oh no. She swings her daggers with delight. Cackling with scorn, she tramples them beneath her. Without rest or respite, respite, I think? She continues running as if fleeing something. I don't know about this. Ryder. She feels giddy with each one she crushes. Giddy with disgust. Giddy with amusement. Before long, her captivation intensifies into a wild passion. Before she realizes it, she was butchering the monsters in a frenzy. She doesn't want to think about anything, so she can't help but let her primal instincts take over and enjoy the hunt. The night continues, the slaughter continues. There are no living humans in the city at night. The only ones roaming about are the monsters. And she's broken. And the more she kills, the heavier her body grows. The more she crushes, the more she forgets her own words. In a word, she is broken. Suddenly, she lowers her eyes. Her body's beginning to change, just like that time. Well, again, yeah, when Steno found her, you know, slurping on some blood. She does not scream. Her boiling head cools at an impossible speed. Of course this happened. There's no time for lamentations or ridicule. In that brief moment of absent-mindedness, she is stabbed without mercy. Monsters surround the wounded beast. The remains of her humanity are on the verge of death. Impaled by multiple claws, nothing is left of her body below her chest. It's been cut into fine pieces. while remains of the blackened monster could only last a few minutes more. Okay. Through her ragged breath, she looks at her bloody palms, deep crimson red. She turns her claws, barely resembling human hands, to the monsters converging upon her. This corpse can still fight back. The creatures meekly decide to observe their new brethren as she dies out. Even breathing is difficult. Though she is already dying, her body continues to transform. Surely it won't stop even if she dies. After what is left of the woman stops breathing, she will disappear and be reborn as a monstrous anti-hero with no trace of her original form. She murmurs. Being still able to utter human words feels like some kind of lingering attachment, and it irritates her. Dimly, she looks at her deforming hands. She has known all along. She confessed it to him as well, that her form was only temporary, that her true nature was that of a hideous monster. She was destined for ruin. From the moment she consumed human blood, her end has been determined. Day by day she grew. First her body crumpled, then her heart, and finally her very being decayed. And all she ever wanted was to become stronger in order to protect her sisters. But in the end, even her sisters were nothing more than nuisances intruding upon her lair. The end of that chapter is unknown to her. At the time, she had neither eyes, nor nose, nor mouth. She had become a world that had only crushed its prey. No, that had been violence committed by the monster in the first place. It had nothing to do with her before she changed. So it shouldn't be painful, but... Okay, well there you go. That must have been it, she thought. And at that thought, she feels a sudden urge to gouge out her eyes. New sacrifices appear before the monster of their own accord. Joining hands, they still their trembling legs and look up at the completely disfigured monster. Said the eldest sister, Steno, in a gentle voice. Lovingly like always, she smiles at the monster. Grumbled the second sister, Uriel. She curses and insults her monster sibling, but at times she looks at the sheepies with true sadness. Steno grasps her sister's hands, her own hands, tightly, seeking comfort from their fear, never abandoning that which they hold dear. The sacrifices think this to themselves. They were the ones who hated humans, and their youngest sister had never bore men any ill will, yet had come to this. The two sisters were loved by men, and were destined to be violated by them, day after day. The elder accepted it as fate, while the younger despised it, but both of them had given up. Yet the youngest sister protected them until the end.
同じようになくなりましょう。
That which was lost shall never return. Steno, who had dreamed that the three of them would live forever on this island far away, closes her eyes and raises her head.
うわ、もう目の前か。じゃあね。さようなら、かわいいメデューサ。最後だから口を滑らせてしまうけど、憧れていたのは私たちの方だったのよ。
The days that have gone by shall never return. Yurio, who had believed that one day the three of them would escape the rustic temple and return home, smiles like she used to and raises her head. Stop, stop, stop! Well, I guess she ate her sisters. Countless snakes consume both sacrifices. Without joy, without sadness. As though crushing ants, the monster grinds the sisters into a pulp. In this way, the immortal girls, retaining their form as beautiful sisters to the very end, while still alive, were absorbed into the monster. Consumed without a trace left behind, they became the monster's flesh and blood, and it continued to thrive. Thus became of the three Gorgon sisters. Thus the three goddesses banished to the shapeless isle became the monsters the people had rumored them to be. What did she love? What did she want? She had so little that was precious to her that she swore to protect them no matter what, and yet, now that she's heading to her death, while she's being transformed, she can't even recall it. You can't stop the transformation. At this rate, she'll turn into a monster and disappear. Everything will end with that. From now on, she'll be summoned as a monster, not to protect humans, but to annihilate them. She can't stop the transformation. There's nothing to be done, nothing to care about. The swarm of creatures like the band at the festival. They revel with hatred in the birth of a new monster. Her consciousness wanes. She has a feeling that there's still something left to do, yet she still can't quite seem to place it. Her life, or rather as her life comes to a close, she quietly shuts her eyes. She noticed an unfamiliar presence peering at her. Is that... I was gonna say Shirou, but no. I think it's Avenger because of his tattoos. You know, you see the little tattoos there? It's kind of blurry, but also his like waist thing. Oh yeah, it's Avenger. I don't know. How did it turn out like this? Why did Ryder just kill a bunch of monsters, kill Karen, remembers her dark yet tragic past and everything that we did learn from Shirou, sort of, right? She told her like whole story to Shirou. And now she's just transforming back to a monster. Well, why is this happening?
そうか。あんたも怪物になっちまったんだな。
Though it feels like she's never heard his voice before, the laughter sounds all too familiar. A smirking grin and sneering eyes. It irritates her considerably. Considerably. Her sadistic heart starts to pound again. If her body was strong, she would have leaped forward and plucked its head right off.
ああ。いや、ちょい違うか。あんたはそんなすっきりしたもんじゃない。あんた、自分が何者か自覚はある？
Aware? She isn't prepared for it, but she accepts it as truth. This heroic spirit's seat will no longer be Medusa's, but that of the monster's Gorgon.
なるほど。潔い。けど、あんたは怪物の定義を知らなそうだな。わかってるか？それは生きるために人を襲うんじゃなく、人を襲うために生きる生き物だ。人間社会を真っ向に端から端まで否定する殺戮機構。ただいるだけで害悪になる毒。それが怪物ってもんなんだが、自分だって言い切れる？
She already knows that. From now on, she will embody that concept over and over again.
そんなの今さら初めから私は
Since the beginning, she has been a monster. A monster camouflaged in human intellect and appearance. If she would someday become such a monster, then her true nature must be the same. That's why it doesn't matter anymore. She roamed the city at night in search of blood and found herself indulging in slaughter. Such a monster will shed its skin to reveal its true colors someday, just like this. And yet it laughs. Heartfelt mirth. Heartfelt hatred. As if to scorn the woman who by the minute was turning into a hideous monster.
だからそこが違うんだ。いいかい？怪物は本能で物を殺すんじゃない。それは優れた理性で物を殺すんだ。人の手に有り余る性能を総動員して何の疑いもなく何の悲しみもなく身もだえるほどの喜びを持って殺し続けるのが怪物だ。ただなんとなくで人間を殺すだなんてそんなのは違う生き物なんだよ。あんたはまだどっちにもなれない半端者みたいだけど。
Okay, his Avengers is criticizing Medusa out of nowhere.
同時にどちらにも傾ける猶予がある。
Her intellect wants to just fall into the abyss already, but stubbornly clings to the cliff's edge. She continues clutching pitifully at the earth, wishing for solid ground.
それはどういう。
わからないか？血を求めるあんたと他のものが気になるあんた。それはどちらも真実だ。どっちも否定はできないだろ。欲望に優劣なんざない。どっちが大きいか、どっちが大切なのかはその場その場で変わるものだ。肝心なのはあんたがまだ持っているかどうかの話。
何を。
The slightest bit of strength returns to her arm. She summons all her reserves in desperation. It is not enough to pull her out of the abyss. No matter how much she struggles, she will only disappear at this rate. Laughing, it looks down upon her.
ではとライダーのサーバント。あんたはその心に望むものがまだかけらでも残っているか？
I have no desires, but there's something I truly wished for.
あなたはあなたにふさわしい場所に戻りなさい。
That's right. Even if she is still Medusa now, she can't save herself if she is to become Gorgon soon. From the start, there was never a way to save herself, so she has no desires. No matter how happy days past were, if she would devour them all eventually, there would be nothing left in her hands. However, even one such as she can still save someone. A servant is summoned to a master to whom its nature is similar. This is all the more so if the summoning catalyst is weak. Because her master had the same fate as her, she was summoned to that girl. Oh yeah, because Heaven's Feel, yes, there's some parallels, yeah. You can draw some parallel with like Ryder's like backstory and, you know, Sakura's whole deal in Heaven's Feel. A girl fated to turn into a monster. The victims turn aggressors, form a contract in this world as fellow monsters. That's why she doesn't want her to end up the same. Although she can't change what she is, she can protect the girl who holds the same fate as herself. Her unfulfilled happiness, her irredeemable sin, how deeply she loved that petty, foolish girl's desperate struggle to put on a brave face. Huh? Okay. She stared at her hands, dumbfounded. Her transformation is halted and she's fading away as her human self. Well, she's still dying, I guess, which is not great.
怪物じゃないからだろ みっともないが、誰かを助けたいという気持ちがあるのなら、あんたはギリギリ人間だ。
She can hear a voice from elsewhere. The speaker is near but can no longer be seen.
ああ、これで解決しちまったな。あんたの悩みは永遠について回るが、その願いがある限り怪物になることはない。その苦悩と同じように永遠にこちら側に来ることはない。
Come over to this side, I guess, as a monster. Is Avenger a monster? Is that what he's saying? The presence fades. The shadow gives an all too friendly wave and disappears.
待って。あなたは。
Coughing blood, she calls out to the figure.
さすがにしつこいな、ヘビ女。大した生命力だが、今回はおとなしく死んでおけ。で、目が覚めたらマスターに謝っておくといい。ほら、俺が言うのもなんだけどさ、マスターとサーバントは仲良しじゃなくっちゃな。
Just die. It's funny. Hey, just go and die, and then you wake up, I guess. Because, I mean, I guess Avenger's aware of this whole loop thing, so it's not like Ryder dies permanently, I guess. Is that how it works? I don't know. Well, snickering, it finally disappears. In the end, she thinks it resembled a young man she knows very well.
そうですね。
She heaves a deep sigh. She lowers her clinging arms.
本当、私はいつまで経っても愚かです。
And this time her eyes finally close. Relieved that, rather than merely dying, she has recovered her wish, she murmurs.
もうすぐ帰りますから、待っていてください。桜。
Oh, there's the sound effect where she dies. I was like, how does it work? Because I'm thinking like all the timelines, you know. Again, I'm not sure, but like usually the timelines kind of like continue, you know, even after the loop, even though we don't see them. So I don't know. So in this timeline, maybe she's like dead for some reason, but like maybe not because it loops. I don't know. It's weird. Swearing a promise she could never keep, the beautiful figure vanishes from the earth. Because we know that Avenger, because the whole Avenger Bazett thing, you know, we learned that I think it was Bazett's wish, right? She made a contract with Avenger in the first place that reproduced this 4-day Holy Grail War, right? So I wonder, I don't know. Because the theory that the timeline continues anyway was like Rin's theory, so it wasn't like confirmed that that's what's happening, right? The whole like parallel worlds, you know, and infinite Shiros somehow remembering everything. Oh, there's more stuff actually. Exclamation mark at the bridge. Rider, or not Rider. I don't want to say Rider. It's Caster Rider. Another scene with Saber, maybe. I'm interested in this one. Like, how is Saigasa related to like a plot point? I don't know. Let's click on her. Let's see what happens at the bridge.